Welcome back to Sissy Maya. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an update. Additionally, consider subscribing to my Patreon to get access to these features, and much more. Teaching in any school poses challenges, especially as a substitute towards the end of the academic year. Rachel Martin understood this well, despite her recent focus on obtaining a master's degree in education. Memorizing students' names, navigating their behaviors, and adhering to school regulations all contributed to the complexity of the role. Additionally, she found herself stepping into a subject she hadn't taught in quite some time. One particular challenge loomed large: Tim King. His disruptive behavior and lack of respect had tested her patience, yet he remained in her homeroom, causing ongoing frustration. "Hello, Miss Martin. I'm Gina Thomas, the social studies teacher next door. I heard you're teaching history. Can I accompany you?" "Indeed, mostly 19th century. And no, your company is welcome. How's it going around here?" "Excellent. The principal fully supports all the teachers without reservation. Most of the students are genuinely wonderful. Sure, there are a few outliers, but they're in the minority. Oh, by the way, I heard you lucked out." "How so?" "You've got Tim King in your homeroom." "Lucked out? You must be joking. He caused quite a bit of trouble some time back. Almost made me reconsider my career." "Well, dear, he's actually the sweetest, most considerate kid I've ever encountered." "Oh, here we are. Are you on lunch duty this week?" "No, I'm scheduled for the week after next." Rachel paused in front of a classroom filled with lively children and remarked, "See you later, at lunch." Observing Gina's entrance, Rachel then proceeded to her own classroom. Upon entering, she scanned the class and wrote her name on the chalkboard. She immediately noticed her niece, Olivia, engaged in conversation with a boy who seemed to be explaining something from a book. Tim King, holding a book, and Olivia is with him. What's going on? Rachel pondered. The sight of Tim King with a book was unsettling. She just hoped it wasn't a book on controversial topics, though he could probably write one. Tim glanced up as the teacher entered the room. "Excuse me, Olivia, I need to attend to something," he said. Walking to the front, he cleared his throat to gain the teacher's attention. "Miss Martin, I want to apologize for my past behavior. I realize now that I was immature and foolish. If I ever step out of line again, please inform my mother. I am committed to making you proud to be my teacher." With that, Tim extended his hand. Rachel was taken aback. She sat stunned for a moment before accepting his hand. "I'm at a loss for words. I appreciate your apology, and I hope to leave a lasting impression as your teacher," she replied. As the bell rang to signal the start of the school day, the class settled into its usual mix of students. Rachel introduced herself amidst the expected groans and inquiries about their regular teacher. After taking attendance, making announcements, and discussing upcoming events, they awaited the first bell to commence the day's activities. As the class dispersed to their respective destinations, Rachel found solace in the realization that she was back where she belonged. Her first period class began to enter, and she noticed Olivia walking in alongside Tim. "I wonder if he knows she's my niece and is trying to curry favor with me," she pondered. "Well," she thought to herself, "time to earn my paycheck." The day progressed smoothly, and before she knew it, it was time for lunch. Rachel encountered Gina in the teacher's lunchroom, located adjacent to the students' area. There, she received a pleasant surprise. "Hey, Rachel. It's been ages," a familiar voice greeted her. "Lena, Chuck. How have you been?" Rachel recognized Lena and Charles Lohman, whom she had met shortly after starting her teaching career. Lena taught physical education, while Charles, known as Chuck among friends, taught mathematics, geometry, trigonometry, and introductory calculus. They were both acquainted with Tim King and his history of troublemaking. "I heard you got the enigmatic student," Lena remarked. Chuck added, "He's as much of a mystery to me as filing taxes. His friends often teased him about his struggles with tax preparation." "Yeah, he's in my class,"
Rachel confirmed as the four sat down to eat, engaging in a discussion about Tim King. Gina inquired, was he really as troublesome as they say? Troublesome would be an understatement. He was incorrigible, through and through, Rachel replied, followed by detailed accounts of his misdeeds from the trio. Gina shook her head in disbelief, commenting, I find it hard to believe. He seems so kind now. What brought about the change? That, my dear, is the million-dollar question, Lena responded. As the time came to head back to their classrooms, the school day drew to a close swiftly. Rachel drove home, while Olivia caught the school bus. A routine settled in, and as time passed, Rachel discovered that Tim King not only kept his promise but also excelled academically. Olivia began spending more time with Tim, and her grades soared from AC average to B+ to A+. As time passed, Rachel found herself observing Tim whenever the opportunity arose. Once, in a hallway, she noticed him walking calmly, not arrogantly, towards her accompanied by two girls. Tim greeted her with a polite good afternoon, Ms. Martin, exuding confidence as he continued on his way. On another occasion, she witnessed Tim confront two bullies bothering younger girls, quickly dispersing them. One thing's clear, Rachel reflected, Tim is anything but timid. What could have instilled such courage in him? What consequence could have led to such transformation? Yet, the enigma persisted. What had steered a potential delinquent towards a future in archaeology and history? It was becoming increasingly tempting to entertain notions of extraterrestrial intervention. Rachel felt compelled to satisfy her curiosity. What had transpired? Several weeks later, on a Friday afternoon after school, Olivia entered with a cheerful "Hi, Aunt Rachel. Tim's mother wants to meet you." Well, this is a role reversal. Usually, it's the teacher seeking to meet the parent, Rachel mused before replying, I'm available tomorrow. Would that suit her? After a brief pause, Olivia queried, You're curious about Tim's transformation, aren't you? It's been weighing on my mind. Yes, Rachel admitted. I'll call Tim and his mom. Perhaps they'll provide some explanation or allow you to see for yourself, Olivia suggested. Olivia proceeded to dial Tim's number, engaging in conversation for a while. Eventually, they reached an agreement. Can you come over around 11:30? I'll meet you there. You might learn more than you bargained for. Auntie, please reserve judgment, Olivia urged. Why would I judge? Whatever occurred with Tim has evidently shaped him into a better person, and I'm grateful for it. If I had any doubts about him being right for you, I would have intervened. Since your parents passed, I've looked out for you, wanting only the best. And since you've been with Tim, you seem happier, more carefree. He brings out the best in you. In fact, he's had a positive impact on me as well. I genuinely enjoy teaching now, witnessing their comprehension of how history shaped our nation. It's students like Tim who inspire me to educate them further, and, conversely, to expand my own knowledge, Rachel confessed. After her heartfelt speech, she thought, finally, I'll have answers. This mystery will soon be resolved. The following morning, after breakfast, Olivia departed, saying, I'll meet you at Mrs. King's place around 11:30. You know how to get there, right? After a brief exchange of directions, Rachel soon mapped out her route. Around 11:15, Rachel got into her car and drove the short distance to Mrs. King's residence. Parking in the driveway, she made her way to the door and knocked. A woman in her mid-30s, with black hair, green eyes, and a polished appearance, greeted her at the door. Rachel felt a bit underdressed in her white blouse, jeans, and sneakers. Please, come in. You must be Rachel, Olivia's aunt. She's spoken highly of you. Mrs. King, it's a pleasure to meet you. Please, call me Linda. I prefer a more relaxed atmosphere among friends. Lunch will be ready shortly. We can sit down and discuss Jamie's schoolwork. Well, I'm not sure where to. What's that scent? Tim is probably chopping some onions for the salad. Tim is preparing lunch. Linda chuckled. Yes, he also cooks dinner occasionally. He's quite handy around the house, sewing, knitting, and handling other chores. What? A boy who does housework? Are you serious? Let's enjoy our lunch, and I'll fill you in on everything you want, or maybe don't want, to know. With that, they moved to a table covered with a cloth in the kitchen. On it were tuna salad, shrimp salad, cold fried chicken, glasses filled with lemonade, and homemade chocolate chip cookies. Rachel indulged in the meal with gusto. Did Tim make all of this? He could teach home economics. I'm getting full, but everything is absolutely delicious. He cooks like this all the time. Rachel glanced at Tim, who seemed more focused on attending to Olivia than participating in the conversation. He refilled Olivia's glass of lemonade multiple times and replenished her plate as needed. Rachel, let's head to the living room for a chat. Olivia, you and Tim can go upstairs and get ready, Linda suggested. Rachel followed Linda into a spacious, sunlit room. She settled in, waiting until Rachel was comfortable, before beginning her narrative. Tim was a decent boy until his father decided to leave me for another, younger woman. Unfortunately, Tim believed I was the reason his father left. He started associating with a troublesome crowd to fit in, and his behavior deteriorated. His grades dropped, and he found himself in trouble constantly. I was at a loss. Finally, I reached out to my sister. She suggested. Have you ever heard of petticoat punishment? She asked, and explained her idea to me. So, I sent him to her for a summer, and again the next. Oh, here they come. Rachel turned to see her niece accompanied by a strikingly beautiful girl. The girl was dressed in a light blue jumper, a delicate apron, lime green blouse, blue pumps with modest heels, and knee-high stockings. She wore minimal makeup, enhancing her natural features, and her light auburn hair cascaded in soft waves to her shoulders. Surprised, Rachel remarked, I didn't know you had a daughter. She's quite lovely. Olivia suppressed a giggle. Aunt Rachel, I'd like you to meet my closest friends, James. This revelation caught Rachel off guard. Then, suddenly, it dawned on her. This is Jamie. I can't believe it. You're stunning. Mrs. King commented, they make such an adorable couple. Thank you kindly, Jamie, now James, responded, with a graceful curtsy. Mother always emphasized that having an attractive girlfriend is a privilege I must earn. Rachel sat in awe as the two girls tidied up the area. With this revelation, everything clicked into place. Olivia, dear, I'll never do anything to harm you or your friend. And I consider James, or Jamie, your friend. He or she is welcome in our home anytime. The remainder of the afternoon was delightful. Olivia shared with Rachel various pictures of James and her mother taken around the city. James proudly displayed her sewing, knitting, and doll clothes, which she made herself. Linda explained, James creates these for the children's ward at the hospital. As evening approached, Linda suggested dinner at a local restaurant. Now that you're in the know, it's a shame you have to keep it a secret. Yes, Rachel replied, awaiting the girls who had gone upstairs to prepare for dinner. She had momentarily forgotten James's true identity. I still can't believe the transformation he underwent. As two charming figures in pink dresses, petticoats, and stockings descended the stairs, Rachel smiled at James. It's incredible how much you've changed. Once, I wouldn't have come anywhere near you, and now I'm going out with you, your mother, and my niece. James smiled back, saying, I've learned my lessons, the hard way. Rachel couldn't resist a playful jab. So now, when you misbehave, does your mother threaten to dress you in panties, petticoats, and dresses? James and Olivia giggled. Linda clarified, no, Rachel, when he's naughty, I take away his panties, petticoats, and dresses,